Night Watch listeners, Rutgers fans, welcome to another episode of Night Watch. I am your host, Larry K. We're going to get ready for the Purdue game this Saturday, and I got some things and some ideas about getting back to business. Yes, I haven't been as vocal or frequent aside from post-game rants in the last few weeks because Rutgers has been extremely disappointing this season so far. I think we all know that. Defense, we knew would be a problem, and it is a problem. And it has been, but I think the offense failing to pick up the slack, so to speak, the offense failing to be truly elite has been a bit of a real disappointment for Rutgers fans, along with just special teams blunders all around. We don't have to rehash that. We've rehashed it. Listen to my appearance on Steve Tishner and Jersey Sports Network's RU Review, which is an audio-only podcast I do every week. Just search for it on Google. And my previous couple videos have a link. If you want to hear my thoughts on all of that, there's plenty of ranting, plenty of raving to go around. But we go up against a Purdue team now, 2-5. Don't even have that magical 3 out of conference win mark that we have. They are also winless in the Big Ten so far, coming off of a shutout, 19-0 from Northwestern. Now, this is a Northwestern team that is a bit better than some might think from years past. They've made a little bit of noise. They are standing at 5-2, so not the end of the world, but Purdue has just not had good showings thus far. Might have a little bit of a quarterback controversy there. Brown, the starter, got nicked up a little bit. There's some discussion that he's been throwing the ball, that the injury was to his non-throwing shoulder. He's been throwing the ball at practice. Doubtful maybe, but that could be coach speak, and this is according to the Rutgers rant guys and some of the other reporters out there. So who knows if there's any gamesmanship and if Brown is actually going to play. If not, it's Singleton. Look, neither of these guys have looked particularly good in really almost any of their games moving the ball. There's been times where Brown has looked pretty darn competent and where he's looked like he can get some things done and that Purdue's going to be no slouch. And then there's other games where they just look like they are absolutely lost. And so it's going to be interesting. Team stats from Purdue's last game. They had 305 total yards, 218 through the air, 87 rushing. So not terrible. They allowed 2 sacks, 5 punts. They've had to punt the ball 5 times. Lost 2 fumbles plus an interception, so they are prone to turnovers. Sadly, Rutgers defense hasn't been particularly good at getting takeaways, so I don't know how much that is going to benefit us. But if you just look at Purdue and their journey so far this year, it just hasn't been pretty, really, in almost any respect. And so Northwestern beats them 19-0 last week. They lose to Minnesota in a respectable game, 27-20. In that game, they put up 456 yards of offense. And so that's respectable, including 253 yards running the ball, 203 rushing. So this is like an up and down, interesting team that you don't know which Purdue you're going to get. Maybe it depends on the starting quarterback. Maybe it's just depends on the matchup or whether they decide to come to play that day. I really don't know. I think this is kind of the battle for who the worst team in the Big Ten actually is. Is it going to be Rutgers or is it going to be Purdue? That's where we are right now. Before Minnesota, they lost to Illinois 43-27. Notre Dame 56-30 beat them. And USC 33-17. They beat Southern Illinois 34-17. They beat Ball State 31-0. So kind of an interesting thing where it looks like they don't have much of a defense to speak of, and they do have somewhat of a competent offense. And so this reminds me of, kind of we were going strength against Iowa, right? And weakness against weakness. And in this case, because Iowa had a good defense, we had a good offense. But Iowa had a weaker offense. We have a weak defense. And sadly, that didn't go in our favor, although I thought there was certainly a lot of opportunity for it to go in our favor. No need to rehash that. That started this downward slide since we've gotten into conference play. This is a little bit different where, Purdue's offense can put up some yards and our defense is weak. And our offense supposedly can do some damage, although the last couple of weeks we haven't seen it. And Purdue's defense hasn't been able to stop really anybody to the point that they can win a game outside of, teams they should and did beat. So depending on who starts, are you going to get this dual threat backup that everybody dreads? Are you going to get the starter who's been hot and cold at times? And if I'm looking at this and thinking about how Rutgers' defense has done so far, I'm thinking, well, this could be a problem because if their offense shows up, they're going to be able to put up points on our defense. And our offense has really not shown the ability to carry the team or to play complementary football when our defense does come up with a stop. So you're going to worry. But here's the thing that's going on in the talk around the program right now. Greg Schiano has said that changes have been made. He hasn't specified what those changes are. He hasn't told us if there's going to be a difference in who's calling the plays on the defensive side of the ball. He hasn't told us if there's been a personnel shakeup. He hasn't told us any of those things. So I don't know if it's going to make an impact because I don't even know what it is. Just like I don't know where where there is, or I don't know. But let's hope there's some kind of spark, and I said this on the RU review this week, but I'll say it again here. I think the reason this Oregon game has the propensity to skew the conversation. And look, you can't take the Oregon game out of context and seal it off completely, right? The Oregon game belongs within the context of the story of the season. And the way we got our doors completely blown off on homecoming at home in a night game, and the way it happened is still embarrassing. And it's even more disheartening within the context of the season thus far. On the other hand, I always looked at that Oregon game as like a throwaway game, like a game that I didn't even want to put within the context of the season story. And if we had won one of those 3 games before it in conference or 2 better, and we took that same beating, it would still be disheartening in another way. Like, hey, we can't even be competitive with this upper echelon, but it wouldn't have hurt as bad because Oregon is such a talented team. They're such a contender that, this is a team. I don't want to get into it because you're going to hit me about what happened to Penn State after. Whatever. Fair enough. But they're a legitimate program here. So, just like MAC teams may come to Rutgers early in the year and get their doors blown off, which they didn't this year, which should have been a bit of a alarm bell for Rutgers fans. But they could come in and get their doors blown off, but then it doesn't dissuade them from their goals in conference, right? Oregon beating the brakes off of us in a normal year wouldn't necessarily dissuade us from our goals or our trajectory, right? Within the context, so there's like a duality, right? In the context, it matters, but you also got to take it out of the context to some extent, right? And the reason I bring that up is I always kind of just wanted to get past that Oregon game. I hated the homecoming draw. I hated where it was in the schedule. It just wasn't, I hated it. I wanted it out of the way. I wanted to just close my eyes and go away. And get past it. And the reason I bring that up in the context of where we are right now in the season is simple. The season has been, I'd say it's been a dumpster fire. Let's just keep it 100. It's been a dumpster fire because you haven't won a single one of the games you could have in conference. Even one of those games would have been vital to getting towards the goal that I had, which was 6-6 in a bowl game. And you weren't able to do that. And the offense that was supposed to be elite enough to pull out at least one of those games didn't do it. And I know everybody wants to focus on the defense and they deserve it, but we knew that. We knew that coming in. So, you have to operate with your strengths and weaknesses. You have to operate within the paradigm that you've been given, right? So we knew the defense was terrible. So you still wanted to find ways to get to 6-6 despite this terrible defense, right? And so if we went into these games and the offense scored on almost every drive or looked like they were doing great and the defense just was absolute Swiss cheese every single drive, well, then you could say, look, there's just nothing we could do. But this offense This offense against Minnesota had the ball and were driving in a position to win the game, and the ball goes through the quarterback's legs. This offense against Washington on the road has 3 straight defensive stops or holds of some kind and comes out of 4 red zone appearances with 3 points. So it's not to say that the offense is as bad as the defense, but within the context and paradigm of what this team is, the offense has also failed at their job. And so that's why I will call this season a dumpster fire, because even the ways you thought you might be able to win, every team has a plan. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, and they have a plan for the season. And fans and commentators like me, we have expectations for the season. And so I'm not predicting 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins, because I know the defense is terrible. And I know what our schedule looks like. But getting to 6 is a legitimate goal. And so within the context, even understanding the weaknesses, this season has been a dumpster fire so far. But long-winded way of getting to where I was going, which is this. Forget about Oregon. Like, knock it out now. The season, there's a new season. And I know this is Coach Speaks. I know we're going to go 1-0. We're going to go, this is the Purdue season. But that's 100% true. Even if you don't just limit it to Purdue, this is a new season. We've got 3 wins in the bank. 3 wins in the bank. And we've got to try to get 3 more. And this can get interesting if Rutgers can pull off this game tomorrow. The season remains interesting, meaning we know there's concerns with this team. You're not going to eradicate or dodge those conversations or those changes or those challenges, like whether it's retaining our best players, whether it's attracting other good players, whether it's maintaining good energy around the program. You're not going to alleviate or ameliorate that by getting to a bowl game, by beating Purdue. None of that's going to happen. But as college football fans, one of the things, our first and our primary goal is to be entertained and to enjoy football on Saturdays. And you can make this season interesting. There can be a season still here, rather than this rampant apathy and just forget about it. There can be a season, something to watch, something to engage with, starting tomorrow. Starting with Purdue. There are 5 games left to get 3 wins. Is that going to be likely? No, not with the way this team's playing. But is it possible? Yes. Yes. Purdue is beatable. Now, Purdue's looking at us saying, how are we even going to get a win? Well, the way to get a win, now they only have 2, so their chances and path to a bowl game is much less, but they want to at least get 1 conference win. And they're thinking, well, this is our homecoming. This is at home. This is Rutgers. They've gotten their butts beat by Oregon. They're winless in conference just like we are. They have serious, serious weaknesses and question marks just like we do. Ian Strong's dinged up for the 2nd time this year. Is he even playing? If he is he at 100%? And this is our chance to get a win. And we got a formidable offense when we want to, when it works. Backup quarterback, Rutgers struggles with that. Maybe our starter goes. Their defense is terrible. They're thinking the same thing. So I'm not dismissing them. And this is a battle for the bottom right here. But a noon kickoff on a Saturday. And Rutgers has a chance to make the end of this season fun. If Rutgers can beat Purdue, we go on the road to number 23, Illinois. Now, Washington got revenge on us. Minnesota got revenge on us, right? They got revenge. We went on the road to play them. They had lost to us at home last year. They got revenge on us. Well, now it's our turn for revenge. Illinois beat us at home in a heartbreaker that was on coaching. And I'm not going to stop talking about that. I'll never stop talking about that. I mean, I probably get it in at least once a pod. I mean, I don't care. It's so I can't. Whatever. But they beat us at home. We want revenge on them. Is it likely? They're a good team. They're better than us. No. But is it Oregon? Is it Ohio State? No. Even if you lose that game in Illinois, you got Maryland at home. And I know there's people out there saying Maryland's not a rival, this and that. Like, I don't know. From my view, in the Jersey professional world, and from my view in the tailgate lot, Maryland's a rival, man, because I know a lot of Maryland grads. And it's not a fierce rivalry. We don't hate these grads. We don't hate each other the way they hate Penn State or we hate Penn State or whatever. The way, Michigan, Ohio State. It's not like that. But there's a friendly rivalry. These games are fun. Like, there's a lot of alum that travel and we hang out, and it's a fun game. And when we were getting our breaks beat, the last 3 years before last year, that sucked because it can be a fun game when it's competitive. That game could be huge. If you pull off beating Illinois, which I don't think is likely, then that could be for a bowl game. If you don't, which is more likely, you got to try to notch one more win. And that makes that game fun. Then you have Ohio State, which, just get out of it healthy. It's another one of those, it sucks to say, but it's another one of those Oregon. Like, just get it. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to look. That's just what that becomes. And I told you last time I talked to you, I told you, how do you save the season? Again, it's not going to change the conversations that we have to have. It's not going to change the concerns. It's not going to change those things. But how do you save this season? How do you change the feeling surrounding this season? How do you change the collective memory that we're going to have for years to come about this season? How do you change the legacy of, Ethan Kaliakmanis and Ian Strong and these guys on this team? How do you make it a different legacy than it looks like we're headed to right now? You beat Purdue. You beat Maryland at home with the Maryland fan base there and that budding little rivalry. And then when Penn State, who doesn't care, bro, I don't care if they're looking to go to a bowl game. I think them looking to go to a bowl game at that point will give them a little more juice because they just want to beat Rutgers and they want to get to a bowl game. But they don't care about that bowl game. If they keep sliding, these guys, and let me tell you something. Sadly, Penn State not caring, playing backups is still going to be a really tough game for Rutgers. A really tough game. And there's still a really good chance we don't win it. But it's not what we thought it was when the schedule first came out. It's not Ohio State Part 2, Oregon Part 2. It won't be that, no matter how you slice it. So even having a chance in that game to go to a bowl game and play them is going to make it, again, fun, worth it, worth our time and energy. So while this has been a miserable ride so far this year, while it's hard for me to get enthusiastic, the season still can jumpstart. The car is dead in the parking lot. You're waving somebody down. You're looking for jumper cables, but those cables, man, they're Boilermakers, man. Put them on. Start this team up. Because this season could still be interesting, and it all starts tomorrow. How do you do it? It's a 12 noon or beautiful. It's probably going to be fall outside. You got the rest of the day after. You got the morning. Tune into the game. Start throwing deep. Get that defense off balance very quickly. Throw it to Duff. Throw it to Sheffield, even if Strong's not in there. Ben Black, get him some work. Throw the ball. Get Ethan Kaliakmanis in a rhythm and try to get them off base by not throwing the same routes we do all the time. Get it a little more so that he's in a rhythm, and then get Raymond setting the tone on the ground. You can do this. Focus on the offense and figure out. And Kirk Sherrock has been very good with scripted opening drives. Open this game up to the tune of Purdue and your fans. this is an efficient, good offense that's going to keep you off balance. We're going to be in a rhythm and you're going to struggle. Get in their heads early. Whatever these defensive tweaks are, they better come out firing. And I'll tell you the truth. They've come out firing. Even the little bit of tweaks that we did before Washington helped. It's just that the offense couldn't capitalize early, and then it faded by the second half, which is a trend with Rutgers and a trend with Washington this year, being good in the second half. But there's some tweaks too. What fire does that give you? And if it gives you fire, Purdue's prone to turnovers. If you're able to get a takeaway, which you've done increasingly as the season's gone on. Even Oregon had a turnover early in the game. You've gotten some turnovers. If they get a turnover again and there's a chance to play complementary football and for the offense to do what they're supposed to do and score, go in and score. Draw something different up. Get them off balance. Score. There's a chance and a philosophy that wins this game. And if you do, A, you're not the worst team in the conference. Thank God. And B, there's something interesting to do. And C, it shows that there is some reason for a scintilla of hope going into an offseason that I think is going to be a daunting and troubling one for a lot of the conversations we have to have and to see what we can do as far as maintaining our roster, improving our staff, maintaining our staff, all of these things. But the season starts now. And it's not to eliminate or forget about what we've already gone through, but it's the truth. There is still an opportunity for some kind of season to happen here, and it starts tomorrow. And I think it's possible. You lose this game, and it's just like, forget about it. Because I'll tell you what, too. And you lose this game, I don't think you're winning another game on the schedule. And even if you catch a Penn State slipping and you're highly motivated for some reason, it's not going to hit the same. It's going to be just a waste of time. So you got to win this game. And there's a chance to win this game. And if you can't muster enough to win this game, there's something wrong with it. I understand Purdue wants a win. I understand it's homecoming. I understand Purdue's at home, and you got to play the guys on the other side of the field. But the fact is that Rutgers, where they thought they would be, where they think they are going, based on the talent we have on the offensive side of the ball, and I've heard this, I think it was the TKR, somebody was saying, this might be one of the few games where we're more talented than the other team. You got to win this game. This game, based on where the two programs are, in my opinion, is more important for Rutgers than for Purdue. So you got to find a way to win it. I will be with you, obviously, after the game. I don't know if I'll sit down like this. I don't know if I'll do it the next morning. I don't know if I'll do it right after on my phone. You guys know I come at you from all angles. But regardless of how I come at you, I will be talking to you after the game. Maybe I'll be on TKR's postgame. I don't know. Who knows what happens? Click that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on one of the podcasting platforms, come over to YouTube and click subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, remember this is available as an audio podcast on every major podcasting platform. So search it, listen to it while you're going to work, et cetera, et cetera. We're still looking for sponsors. Contact me and we can talk about something. I'd love to have a partnership with a local business or something else to support Night Watch. And click become a member. But I'll talk to you guys very soon. Let's hope we can win this game and we're not declared the worst team in the conference. No one saw a championship run coming, but I don't think anybody saw that coming. So let's avoid that. And I will talk to you guys later. Larry K.